Sophia and Mark had been married for nearly a decade. Their love story, once a testament to the power of partnership and shared dreams. They had built a life together, bought a cozy home in a quiet neighborhood, hosted dinner parties for friends, and spent weekends hiking the trails of nearby mountains. But beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect marriage, cracks had begun to form, unseen by most, but felt deeply by Sophia. Mark had always been the charming one, the life of every party. But over time, his attention wandered, and the man who once couldn't keep his eyes off his wife began to look elsewhere. It started with innocent flirtations, then late-night meetings that he claimed were for work, and eventually a full-blown affair. Sophia discovered the truth in the most devastating way. A text message meant for someone else, one that left no room for doubt. Her world crumbled around her. The man she loved, the man she trusted, had betrayed her in the worst possible way. Yet Sophia was determined to save her marriage. She confronted Mark, and he promised it was over, that he was sorry and would change. But the damage was done, and despite her best efforts, the trust was shattered. Sophia threw herself into salvaging what was left, pouring her energy into their relationship, hoping against hope that things could go back to the way they were. But Mark's apologies were hollow, and his behavior didn't change. He continued to cheat, now more secretive, more careful. Sophia, exhausted and heartbroken, began to withdraw into herself, slipping into a deep depression. The weight of her sadness became unbearable. She stopped seeing friends, stopped caring about the things she once loved. The woman who was once so full of life now barely recognized herself in the mirror. Finally, realizing she couldn't continue on this way, she sought help. Therapy became her lifeline, a place where she could pour out her pain, her anger, her sorrow. With the help of her therapist, Sophia began to rebuild herself, piece by piece. But as Sophia grew stronger, Mark continued his downward spiral. His affairs became more reckless, more brazen. One evening, after yet another argument that ended with him storming out of the house, Sophia realized that she had finally had enough. She could no longer stay in a marriage that was destroying her from the inside out. She needed to leave, for her own sake, for her own survival. So, she did. With nothing but a suitcase and a resolve she hadn't felt in years, Sophia walked out the door and into the unknown. She sold their house, finalized the divorce, and used the money to fund her dream, traveling the world. She had always wanted to see the places she had only read about in books, and now she had the freedom to do so. Sophia's travels took her to places she had never imagined she would go: Italy, Greece, Japan, Australia. With each new destination, she felt a little more of herself return. She hiked the hills of Tuscany, sailed the Greek islands, and meditated in Japanese temples. The world was vast and beautiful, and for the first time in a long time, so was her life. It was in New Zealand, on a hiking trail near Queenstown, that Sophia met James. He was a doctor from London, also traveling the world, also running from a painful past. James had lost his wife to cancer a few months before, and like Sophia, he was searching for something to heal the wounds that grief had left behind. They bonded over their shared love of nature, their shared sadness, and their shared hope for the future. What began as a simple friendship grew into something more. They spent their days exploring together, talking late into the night about everything and nothing. Sophia found herself laughing again, feeling joy in the little moments. James was kind, patient, and understanding, everything Mark had not been. Slowly, almost without realizing it, Sophia began to fall in love again. Their relationship blossomed as they traveled together, from the beaches of Bali to the streets of Paris. James made Sophia feel cherished, valued and loved in a way she hadn't felt in years. And for James, Sophia was a light in the darkness, a reason to smile again. A year after they met, on a quiet beach in Hawaii, James proposed, and Sophia, with tears in her eyes, said yes. They married in a small ceremony on the same beach, surrounded by the new friends they had made on their travels. It was a simple, beautiful day, filled with love and hope for the future. Meanwhile, back home, Mark was living a life of regret. The woman he had left Sophia for had turned out to be just as unfaithful as he had been. He had lost everything: his marriage, his home, his dignity. He thought often of Sophia, wishing he could turn back time, wishing he had made different choices. But it was too late. Sophia had moved on, found happiness, and left him behind. As Mark sat alone in the house that was no longer a home, he realized the full weight of what he had lost. But life had moved on without him. And so had Sophia. She was out there in the world, living the life she had always deserved, with a man who truly loved her. And that was the greatest irony of all, that in trying to keep his freedom, Mark had lost the one person who had truly set him free.